This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the best, fastest, easiest way to make your very own professional website, portfolio, blog, or online store with no coding or design skills required. Just go to squarespace.com with the offer code THUMBS at checkout, and you will get 10% off your first order. And if you sign up for a year, get a domain name for free. That is squarespace.com with the offer code THUMBS.
Yeah.
Doy.
Doy. Christ.
I heard that in something recently.
Was it the Neverhood soundtrack?
I can't remember what it was.
What is it, Jake?
Doy. We're going to lose my brilliant Doy opening.
I can splice doy in there.
Splice Doy in there. That is that's a forgotten language. It was an Esperanto peer that was dropped. Was the Splice Doy in there is that right. Language is
future
code
civilizations will find that recording.
For put doy in there.
For it's July 7th, 2016. Doy, it's July 7th, 2016.
This is Idle Thumbs 270. I'm Chris Remo.
I'm Nick Brecken.
And I'm Jake Rodkin. That was a very polite, I'm Chris Remo.
Yeah.
You're like...
Yeah. Trying to be as polite as I can.
Trying to news hour it up on this news hour. But first...
News.
Yeah. No, Wizard Jam.
Well, news about Wizard Jam.
Wizard news.
It's true. We're going to do the second Wizard Jam stream, probably the second and final Wizard Jam 2016 stream this Saturday, which is July 9th at, we're going to say, noon Pacific. That sound good to everyone? Yeah. So,
yes.
So that's at twitch.tv/idlethumbs. We're going to stream the remainder of the Wizard Jam 2016 games that were submitted to the Idle Thumbs Community Game Jam just a couple months ago. And I don't know, I think we said we might do some Wizard Jam 2015 streams, Wizard Jam 2015 games. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how much time it takes.
For those of you who missed Wizard Jam or the previous stream, Wizard Jam is, as Chris said, it was an Idle Thumbs community game jam where a bunch of readers made short video games over the course of 2 weeks, and the games' names had to be Idle Thumbs episode names. If you want to catch up, we actually streamed a couple dozen of these a few weeks ago, and you can find that in our highlights at twitch.tv/idlethumbs or on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/idlevideos. You just go to the videos tab and find that. There's some amazing stuff in there. Mm-hmm. You can also play the games in advance at itch.io/jam/wizard-jam-2016.
So true.
It's a long URL that leads to a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Wizard Jam.
And on that note, we have been doing a lot more streaming recently at our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/idlethumbs. I did a Just Cause 3 stream over the weekend because there was a new DLC that came out actually like a month ago, but I hadn't played it yet, so I just did that. Nick's been streaming a lot of Dark Souls, and I think you're going to try and stream more Dark Souls before...
Today.
Wizard Jam. Oh, really? Today?
Today.
All right.
So yesterday.
No, today.
Oh, Wednesday.
Today, Thursday.
Oh, God, we put episodes out on Thursday now. Hey, all right.
Today, Thursday.
Yeah, and if we can get 5 more Twitch subscriptions on there that quickly enough, that means by the Wizard Jam stream on Saturday, the emotes for Sean and Danielle will have been unlocked. So then it will be good. It'll be a good thing.
Every host ever of Idle Thumbs will be there.
Not Steve.
Steve hosted the Idle Thumbs podcast.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Let's, Anyway, now...
A meaningless distinction that literally nobody listening to this will understand.
I'm sorry. So now that bullshit news is over, let's talk about real news.
Yes.
It is actually real news.
It is actually legitimately newsworthy. And this, like, not... Yeah,
not in the fake game sense.
Yeah, no, it's shocking how much this is actual real news, I think. Especially in the sense that it is like extraordinarily outraging in the way that real news just is now, always. Mm-hmm. As a lot
Brexit.
of people have emailed us to say and tweeted at us and everything else. There is a crazy scandal that has been unfolding in the Counter-Strike Go world. So we've gotten some reader mails recently, right, about general.
We talked about CS gun skins last week in the context of Rob, the hat baron who broke bad and like ran off with like various people's money and all sorts of stuff, then was also making thousands or millions of dollars as a CS gun skin peddler. Yeah. And we also talked a little bit about the gambling stuff last week in a reader mail, right?
Because these CSGO weapon skins have a value that people are willing to part with money for, like they, just like anything else that's worth real dollar value, they can be used in gambling. And so there are sites that are set up that allow people to gamble. As far as I can tell, the gambling is very simple. Yeah, it's just like it's a coin flip gambling sort of apparatus, and the site presumably takes some cut of proceeds, and you know, you win or you lose, and that's that. Which is really, I think, bad. Just on its face, like that, just because one of the reasons it's successful is because it's a way to basically skirt age restrictions for gambling, because you're technically gambling these like just sort of digital skins. You're not actually gambling money, so it's a way for children and teens to gamble with something that to them is very valuable, that they and other people are willing to spend, in some cases, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on. I think some of these individual skins are like tens of thousands of dollars.
There's
in
some 5-digit,
I think. which is absolutely bonkers.
I mean, even if there's not specifically CS skins, there are 5-digit items inside the Steam economy, which means that you can trade things in and out to get to CS gambling.
So that's all like pretty distressing, I think, to begin with. And then what has come out in the last week, for all I know, I think this has probably been slowly coming out for longer in the world of CSGO.
There was a notable video report that sort of compiled all of the evidence.
Yeah. What has come out based on the research of some YouTubers and people in the CSGO community is that one of the most popular Counter-Strike gambling sites, CS Lotto, is actually co-owned by at least two, and I think actually possibly more than two prominent CSGO YouTubers who have a significant history and have seen massive success by posting videos to YouTube encouraging people to use this website, but not disclosing the fact that they have an enormous financial stake in it. They post videos acting as though they've just like stumbled on this site.
Whoa, watch me win tons of money gambling.
Hit it rich, struck it rich by gambling CSGO skins, and they'll post videos of their like incredible winning streaks on this website that they own. Some people have suggested that they themselves have like engineered the results of their transactions to like make it to guarantee their wins. I think that's like not even, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Right. Like just post the videos of the times that you do win naturally. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like if you actually owned a casino and you put a video up of you like winning at roulette 5 times and you're wearing like 5 different outfits and you're like, look, everyone's a winner here. You're like, okay, that doesn't matter what you did to make that video happen. You can play the roulette wheel infinite times.
Right, because all the money you lose is yours still.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is outrageous. This really infuriated me. But the thing that really like bummed me out, all aspects of this bummed me out, but a very specific thing that put a point on why, one of the reasons this is such a bummer is I saw an Instagram photo of some like, I don't know, must have been like a 9-year-old kid at Disney World who had run into one of these YouTube streamers, the two main ones who are implicated in this. And this little kid is like, this is like his favorite streamer, and he took a picture. He had his like older brother take a picture of him like standing next to this guy whose entire career currently rests on essentially defrauding children and teens out of their money by like impersonating a sort of lucky winner on this website that he owns. And seeing like, oh, right, the audience for these people is largely children and teens. Like just about every parent I know, we're at the age now where a lot of our friends are parents, and I know a lot of parents, and universally, every parent I know who has a child who is old enough to actually use the internet themselves says that the thing their kid does is watch YouTube. That is just what kids do now. Like YouTube stars are easily among the most influential people in the lives of modern internet connected children and teens. And like, obviously there have always been hucksters on television and on the internet and everywhere else, but like the ability of YouTube to give literally anybody a platform, especially one that is like incredibly seductive to people below a certain age, is I recognize not like brand new. We've always had versions of that in terms of corporations marketing things to impressionable kids and teens, but you can literally just put an entire gambling like industry on in a place that your kid can just reach now. And it's just a huge bummer. Like it really bums me out. I think it really sucks.
Yeah.
This is such a downer to be talking about on this podcast. I'm sorry, but oh God, it's just the worst.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a whole lot more to say about it beyond that?
I don't know.
It blows. I don't know.
I'm sitting here trying to think of like anything that's analogous to growing up.
One interesting sort of,
and I can't. It's just I feel like such a baby compared to kids today when the
right. I mean, the only version of it I had was like begging my mom to use her credit card to get something that had been marketed
TV,
to me.
But like 900 number or something.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like I want a toy, or like I want to call Nintendo Power for like 6 hours. And
right.
like
I remember.
Up, like,
I remember
$100,
begging my mom
like,
to let me call the LucasArts hint line. And she's like, "No, you're not going to do that."
Yeah,
that's no.
Yeah, but imagine if you
and then
just
you
could.
did it anyway.
So I guess the version of this that I had was, and I know we've talked about this before, was like calling up BBSs, and the first time I ever did, in the first month I ever did that, racking up a $400 phone bill.
Right.
That's not the same.
I wasn't being actively defrauded though.
The closest thing to it though is like on like call this number and you can talk to RoboCop. It's like that sort of shit. Like call a 900 number and answer these trivia questions, and you could win like a RoboCop phone, or you know, like that. It feels like it feels like 900 numbers aiming at kids, or like join shitty record clubs,
sweepstakes.
But like the thing that there's a couple things that I'm interested in that I don't entirely know the answer to, and one of them is, where do kids get the money that they gamble? Like, are kids given an allowance from their parents that they're then converting into Steam currency, or is this like kids playing other games that have drops? Then they use the trading system to get CS skins by doing item for item trades. Like where does the money enter the system that these kids have? Because even though kids do a lot of this stuff, I know that not a lot of kids still have debit or credit cards unless they go and get them online.
That's true.
So like,
I probably overstated the amount that kids are the ones who are funneling thousands of dollars into this.
The thing that makes your point still stand is that because these guys are doing this stuff, even if a kid can't do it right now, it's now an aspirational goal to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you can if you try. And the other thing that I'm wondering about is what Valve's feeling on this is, because it seems like Valve, when this story broke, they put the like Steam this is bad content blocker on those guys on CS Lotto. If you tried to go,
they lifted it.
Yeah, if you tried to go to CS Lotto for the first like day, it said this is a like gambling or abusive
I think the
site.
reason Valve had the ability to do that is because these sites actually used an API, like a Steam API, to check your inventory.
But then Valve pulled that guide off.
Right. I think Valve said they had an overzealous moderator that had flagged the site.
But that moderator was correct.
I know. Well, I think they then removed the flag, then like re-added it after that. I was reading through a story on PC Games and basically the story had about 18 like updates because all of this information has been coming in so quickly. Valve was a company that sort of notoriously is very data driven.
Yes.
Rather than, it's unclear to ever really know. I have no idea how Valve looks at this stuff, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's that's the story that I would love to know is when that person flagged the site and Steam warnings told people that it was a compromised site or that it was a bad site. I wonder what the meetings are, because the worst version of that is someone noticed a graph going down and going, you cannot block that site. That's the absolutely shittiest, most like Andrew Ryan Rapture version of this is blocking the most popular gambling site had an impact on the economy internally, and Valve noticed and removed the ban. The better version is that there was a really healthy conversation about what their stance is on this content.
Right.
I wouldn't know though. It's freaky that there is a world where all of those conversations potentially happened inside of that office.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the presence then removal then potential reappearance of that block. It's like, oh no, there's something is happening back there. There's a person back there, and is having a conflicted day.
There was a robot back there.
A robot. I do not know.
The behavior is
my
more
rules.
just like
my rules.
Yeah. Man, they went on a
Profit
lottery.
is down. Morals are up.
They went on a website and just flipped a coin 6 times.
Every 3 hours, our block robot plays CS Lotto.
Robot's got a 6 skin
when the block robot reaches a certain cash threshold, it cashes out and just leaves its job. No more sites are blocked. The funny thing about the word robot now is that it just means everything. Like
That's
everything is
true.
just a robot now because everything is a goddamn computer. I mean, like what? Like
I'm not a
robot.
Chris.
I think used to mean like sort of articulated machinery that is connected to some kind of like logic, but now it doesn't. I mean, now like we refer to bots as like just things that exist only in software, and we refer to like robots. I think robots and AI are becoming increasingly like conflated as terms. I don't know what this is.
It's because robots,
CSGO.
the idealized version of a robot was just this all-knowing sentient AI,
Yeah,
right?
something
So
that just
now
sort of
that
exists.
is possible, it may as well just be a robot, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now that's just what everything is because everything just is the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. In conclusion, streaming is horrible. Please tune in this weekend at our new streaming website, idlethumbs.casino.
Yeah. We're going to swat a lot of people while we're on that stream. It's going to be great.
There was one email from Joe Kohler who wrote in and said, "Hi Thumbs, I'm mad you've already seen or discussed the video, but I wanted to highlight this amazing look at the dark side of CSGO, deception, lies, and CSGO." And I do want to mention that one video because that was the first thing I watched that turned me on to this. And it's by H3 Productions on YouTube. It's called Deceptions, Lies, and CSGO. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. The thing he mentions that I wanted to just quickly touch on, he says, a quick summary, free-to-play models like the one used in CSGO are inherently similar to gambling. Valve was unwilling or unable to regulate the incredibly profitable market it created. I mean, we'll see if that ends up staying true or not. 3, the existence of lottery sites for weapon skins amplifies the gambling aspect of item crates. 4, some YouTubers are promoting these sites through get-rich-quick videos. And 5, as if that weren't enough, 2 of the YouTubers doing this are revealed to own the lottery site they're promoting. Despite these kinds of scandals, YouTubers continue to be seen as authentic and trustworthy, while on the side of critics, anything from review scores to Patreon donations is obsessively scrutinized. I guess this is the media hellscape we now live in. Anyway, thanks for all the pods you've cast on my face over the years. Joe Kohler, Deadpan on the forums. And that last point was the thing that struck me about this, because it does seem like just broadly and globally, we're living in a time now where anything that is institutional is basically intrinsically distrusted and ridiculed, whereas things that come from a populist bent are given increasing primacy, and I like this YouTuber thing really illustrates that, I think, because while it's true that obviously, I mean, we are those people, basically. We have a podcast that we just created ourselves with no backing from any media organization or anything like that. And we stream games that, a tiny community of people watches. But so whatever, like obviously it's totally possible to use all those tools for completely benign purposes. But it is a bummer.
Which is totally what we do.
But it is a bummer that there is so much just like, at this point, social distrust of like any kind of export opinion, because what ends up happening is the sort of decentralized versions of criticism and opinion end up gaining the kind of like financial success and influence that you would traditionally associate with old media or traditional media, except that without any of the like surrounding institutions, it's actually harder to keep them accountable. I don't really have any further point to make about that. It's just a real bummer to me. Like, of course this is happening. Like, of course it is.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? Anyway,
it's all happening.
I mean, like you can just there are parallels to this in like at this point every facet of modern life.
Yeah,
you know, from
true.
like international politics,
skins.
down to Counter-Strike skins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that even this, even innocent Counter-Strike.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like obvious. This is most of the time. Obviously, something like Counter-Strike would just be a you know, like I mean, it's just a pastime and was for what, coming up on 2 decades now?
Maybe first we'll have the rise of words like huckster and charlatan coming back into the regular parlance now that we have them. Like in
oh man, that's true.
And then maybe we'll have a resurgence of a need for institutions who we probably won't.
I guess we've totally been here before, haven't we?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can
in
trust
a
me
totally
because of my
different form,
personality,
but-
while I meanwhile become a like old-timey villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's actually one of the like people talk obviously with people like Donald Trump and whatever, people talk a lot about like fascism and so on these days, but I really think that's the wrong metaphor. I think you're actually right, much more on the money in terms of like hucksters, and that brand of populism I think is much closer to what we're experiencing now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Video games, fun video game podcast.
CS Hucksters.
Classic map.
Yeah.
Hucksters 2. Big game Hucksters.
Yeah. Dollar sign.
Okay. Break time.
Break.
Video games. This episode of Idle Thumbs is brought to you by Casper. Casper manufactures incredibly well-designed mattresses and sends them directly to your door for a shockingly fair price. If you go to casper.com/thumbs and use the offer code thumbs, you will get $50 towards any mattress purchase. Casper mattresses are only $500 for a twin-size mattress, $950 for a king. There are other sizes in between there. Those are already incredibly fair prices for mattresses, which you will know if you've been shopping for mattresses anytime recently. And you can get $50 towards any of those mattress purchases by going to casper.com/thumbs and using the offer code thumbs. I have slept on a Casper mattress. It is super comfy. It comes in a little box that like explodes a mattress out into your home once you take it inside. And then you put it on your bed and you will be pretty stoked about getting a good deal on a mattress that feels really nice and will last you a very long time. Can't really go wrong with a mattress. Yeah. In case you're concerned you might go wrong, they have a 100-day complete guarantee, return guarantee. I don't think you're going to need it, but they offer it just in case because that is how much they stand by the Casper mattress. They stand by it while you sleep on it. That's not their slogan, but I'm going to say it as though it were. That's casper.com/thumbs with the offer code thumbs for $50 towards any mattress.
Nice.
Thanks, Casper.
Oh, you're welcome.
Video game.
I stand by you.
Thanks.
While you sleep.
Thanks.
Just in case.
Okay. That doesn't make me feel any better. This episode of Idle Thumbs is also brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the best, fastest, easiest, most user-friendly way to make your very own professional blog, website, portfolio, or online store. You don't need any design or coding skills. It's got an incredibly easy interface where you're building the website as it's right in front of you. You click to edit the content. It's incredibly straightforward. If you go to squarespace.com, you can sign up without a credit card and just get going immediately. And when you check out, use the offer code thumbs for 10% off your first order. And if you sign up for a year, you could get your very own domain name tossed in there. You could get all kinds of things. We just registered idlethumbs.casino. See where it goes. Squarespace is really cool. I have used it for multiple different sites at this point. Probably the next thing I'm going to do is put together a portfolio site for myself, since I have never really had a good one, and that seems like something that is nice to have. Again, you can get started without a credit card. You can start like dragging stuff around and editing content based on any number of templates that are already up there. You can modify it as much as you want or as little as you want. Works on mobile, desktop, everything. It's just really nice. It's a really, really nice solution that covers the entire thing all the way from your domain name to your final site up and running. So if you go to squarespace.com, when you're ready to check out, use the offer code THUMBS for 10% off. And if you sign up for a year, get your free domain name. Thanks, Squarespace.
You're welcome. I'm all brands.
I know.
Video games.
I don't even know what Big Game Hunters is.
Oh, Big Game Hunters was a classic StarCraft 1 map, multiplayer map that had like shitloads of minerals everywhere. Yeah. So it would encourage these hilarious games where you just turtle up in your base and build hilariously huge, maxed out 200 food armies, and you would just launch yourselves at each other with like infinite battle cruisers versus carriers or whatever. I mean, it was stupid. Yeah. It was. It became the most popular. Like there were a ton of variants of it, and it became the map that just everybody used because it was just easy mode map.
Yeah.
But it would lead to these interminable games.
I used to love being a troll on that map and just rushing, like not holding up at all, just actually playing StarCraft, and that was the.
Yeah.
I didn't play a lot of StarCraft. I signed on to BattleNet once and was wrecked, and then never came back.
That's fine.
I was so wrecked.
Doy.
We're back.
Oh, we are back.
And we brought all the latest games. Nick.
Yes.
Nothing. You've just been saying sure a lot.
Oh.
It's Nick's word today, and many days.
Yeah. I heard you guys played a game.
We've played only the latest in under 20-minute interactive first-person experiences. I don't know if any of them are the latest. Well, I checked out Asemblance, which I think showed up somewhat recently on Steam, and a little bit before that on PlayStation 4.
I don't even know what this is.
It seems very much like it's a post-PT game in that spooky things happen and reality changes. PT was the playable teaser for Silent Hills, the Kojima Del Toro game that never came out,
right?
Where you walk down a hallway over and over and spooky stuff happens. Asemblance is a first-person game. It's got some good stuff in it. It feels like an interesting twist on sort of walking simulator, explore a world, plus the sort of repeated spooky stuff that happens in PT. You play as a person inside of a small science facility where it seems like they have what looks like there's a little console in this room, and then there's a big empty cube in a neighboring chamber that looks like the holodeck from Star Trek or something. It's just got grid lines, and on the terminal you can load up what I think are your own memories. The game starts in media res, and there's only one thing on the terminal. And when you press it, the little like cube room glows white, and when you walk inside of it, it sort of glitches out, and then you're inside of a space that you can explore. And then as you notice things in there, it makes more things appear on the terminal, so you can sort of loop in and out.
That's a cool idea.
So you can unlock pieces inside of those memories, and then it has that sort of cheesy PT mechanic of if you look at the right thing, you get freaked out for a second, and then other things happen. But like you can make things happen in the world by observing details. It's pretty cool. It's very short. I think that I got to the end of the experience. I think there are other endings. I also think that there's additional either episodes or more content that's going to roll out. But right now, you can play through it once in like 30 minutes or 40 minutes. It's
so what is this? Is it, do you buy it? Like,
yes, it's a game that you pay for on Steam or PlayStation.
Okay.
I don't remember how much it costs, but I will look it up. I think that it's made by a collection of people who were formerly of Monolith and Bungie.
Yeah, it looks like Bungie, Monolith, and Visceral, former developers.
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting. So it's like, so the business model for this thing is they sell you a short experience and then it grows over time?
I'm not sure what the business model behind it is. I know that it's a short game.
It's okay. The first episode is what came out previously, I guess.
I don't know what their deals, like how you pay, what the pay plans are for it over time or anything like that. I know right now it's $10. It's an interesting experience that I feel like there's more to it, in part because there was a cryptic video game narrator at the end that I think told me that I could have poked at it more.
Right.
And YouTube playthroughs seem to indicate that I could have poked at it more. But even like, I said it was like 20 or 30 minutes, but I think I've probably actually spent more like an hour poking at it because I got stuck in a couple places. The experience of loading up the memories, the room loads up, and then you can discover stuff, but you know that you know more about the story, so you know that there's what things to pay attention to inside of the space. Also, you don't know all of the mechanisms inside of the game that are making the world change. It means that even though you're cycling through a very limited amount of content, by the end of it, I got pretty heavily into the mode of actually picking at all the details and reading everything in the space, whereas the first couple times through any of these spaces, I just kind of wandered in and went, oh, cool, a new level.
Mm-hmm. It is shockingly difficult to find the Steam page for this game.
It's partly because, it does not help that it is spelled weirdly.
Oh, it is? How is it spelled?
It's spelled with one S.
Oh, my God.
Because it's...
for fuck's sake. Okay.
It's the word...
Bad job, everyone.
Yeah, the word semblance with an A in front of it, so it's like a semblance, but also it's like maybe A, like meaning non-semblance. It's just clever enough.
If you look close enough, it's training you.
Oh, my God. I was searching all over the place. How am I not able to find this?
Asemblance.
That is really irritating.
Yes.
Okay.
So search for that on Steam, and you can find this video game.
Yep. Steam also, that's compounded with the fact that Steam's search is like the most hilariously traditional.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's obviously
not fuzzy.
Yeah,
right?
it clearly is sort of fuzzy because other things will come up, but none of the things I looked for came up. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. So this is $10 on Steam right now. It's also on PS4, and I guess there will be more of it, although the Steam page doesn't.
It's hard to know the details
have any
of
details on that. Yeah,
I haven't paid enough attention to it. Sean just totally cold recommended it to me, and now I'm playing the part of Danielle Riendeau and randomly recommending it to you at the beginning of the second half.
Yeah.
So, what are the other 10 games you played this week,
Danielle?
That's true.
I think Danielle is actually posting her San Francisco 5-minute adventure game in the very near future. She posted on Twitter about updating her itch page. It's an itch.io. But no, the other thing that I played it a little while ago, but we never talked about it, was Fitz Packerton.
I also played that.
How recently did you play it, Chris?
Like a week ago.
Okay. Fitz Packerton is a tiny game that was made at a game jam by Brennan Chung and Teddy Deef, among other people. Mm-hmm. There's 2 other people who worked on that, and I can't remember all of their names. But
but those are the 2 Idle Thumbs related people, or Idle Thumbs somewhat connected
Brendan
people.
Chung being the one-man team that is Blendo Games, who made Gravity Bone, 30 Flights of Loving, Flotilla, Adam Zombie Smasher, and coming soon, Quadrilateral Cowboy. Yep. And Teddy Deef hosted Playscape Los Angeles on the Idle Thumbs network. Fitz Packerton is a fucking gut punch of a 10-minute game. I don't know, that. I don't even want to describe it too much. What do you want to say about Fitz Packerton?
Yeah, it's not a good idea to talk too much about it because it's free and you can play it in 5 to 10 minutes. So what's even the point other than saying it's good? I guess the thing I can say that is totally non-specific about any of the game's content is that the game manages to convey several sort of stages of plot and emotion while only using one gameplay mechanic that in basically every single other game it's been in is either neutral to bad or annoying. It uses a physics-based grab that is always clunky in all games, including this one. But the way that it uses it as its sole mechanic in the entire game, only through context, ends up being really powerful.
Super meaningful,
the very, very first build of this, I think.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So I don't know
I don't know if I think there's only one build that they released from the Game Jam. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just...
Then I played this game, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a 5-minute thing, so I can't even imagine what it would mean to you.
Well, I mean, you asked how long ago Chris had played it, so I assumed that there had been...
It came out, I think that it was from a Game Jam 6 months ago or something at least, maybe a year. Yeah. It's been around for a while, but it bubbles up on Twitter every now and then.
I see.
I played it like maybe a month ago or something. It's one of those like...
I think I saw it because Steve started screaming about it like nonstop for like 3 days. He must have just stumbled upon it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or just remembered it. Yeah, all of Brendan's first person stuff is worth playing. Like, get 30 Flights of Loving on Steam and then go to the menu and load up Gravity Bone first. It's built into that game, and play those 2 games. They're really good.
Yep.
First person short games. Cool. Anyway. Thanks, Danielle.
You're welcome.
Do you guys... Oh, you want to read reader mail? Or Nick, you want to talk about something?
Nah.
You're supposed to say sure.
Oh, sure. No, I've been watching the Summer Games Done Quick stream, which is the
started
bi-yearly. It started on Sunday, I believe. It's running through Saturday. But it's the bi-yearly.
But watch Wizard Jam on Saturday instead.
Right? Yeah, right.
Twitch.tv/idlethumbs.
I have 2 streams open on a dual monitor setup, and watch both. But have our audio on and their audio not.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but have their chat on and ours not.
Weird.
Anyway. So, it's the bi-yearly stream that I don't know why everybody knows what this thing is by now. But anyway, it's been good this year, and I watched a Demon's Souls stream, which was very interesting to me because I remember watching you play that game, Chris, before I had any context of the Souls series.
Back in 2009 or whatever.
Yeah, and now having played Dark Souls 3 and watching that stream from beginning to end, which was just a hilarious just any percent just run
speed run. Yeah.
Oh my god! I mean, just incredible because it's just it's insane. Like watching somebody navigate those levels to 100% efficiency means that you're just like every shred of the health bar is used to drop from impossible situations and just go down all the elevators that I would just fall off of and die from. They know exactly when to drop from.
Right.
Max speed die. And it's just everything is just 100%. But it's just really interesting to watch it and realize that it is just kind of a Dark Souls game. Like that series hasn't evolved much, which is good because it was good from the start.
Right. It's sort of refined more than
it's refined more than actually
fundamentally.
Yeah, the UI is the same. It's the exact same UI. It's really interesting. Anyway, Well,
the UI in that game was already archaic by the standards of modern games, and so they're just still using that hilarious UI model.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really good.
Yeah, that's cool. Man, God, Demon's Souls. It'd be interesting I would be interested to play that game again now and just see what it feels like. Because I obviously, as you say, the fundamentals of the series are similar.
Yeah.
But it's been enough iterations at this point that I bet playing it would feel different. I bet that's enough steps back that you'd probably recognize a lot of it, and there'd be a lot of it that would still feel like alien or at least sort of odd.
Yeah, I think they mainly control precision and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, you want to do some reader mail?
Sure.
Yes. If you want to send us a reader mail, you can write us at questions@idlethumbs.net.
So true.
Gotta say it. We sometimes don't say it.
That's true.
And then people just think we make all this stuff up.
That's also true. That we do.
I win millions of dollars from emails.
And you can too.
You can too.
idlethumbs.casino.
Carl Underwood writes, Carl from Chicago writes, he wrote that. Hello, Thumbs. I have a quick comment on Imbroglio. Chris, in a real Slyboots move, you've gotten me sitting in front of a decent gaming rig, staring at a tiny phone screen on several occasions now. You have yet to mention the game's super strong set of sound effects. It sounds like Michael Brogg, pronounced Brog according to his website, by the way, must have just recorded all the sound effects on a guitar. Playing with them on gives the game a subtle rhythm feel that really enhances the turn-based becomes action pace of the game you've described previously. It's the only time I can remember choosing to play a phone game with sound whenever possible. Also, the robots are beginning to condition us for our inevitable support role in their world. This is How Robots Work, a spot for the Indeed Jobs website. And there's a link to a YouTube video titled How Robots Work.
Oh, what was it? I heard a little bit of the audio there, Chris. I'm imagining that these are
How
like...
do robots work?
Man, they apparently work with like backwards baseball hats on. In a team.
Working together. Doing all kinds of jobs. And the best place to find the job that's right for you is on the world's #1 job site. Indeed. How the world works.
What?
Weird.
You'll be replaced eventually. But until then, scrabble for the last remaining scraps of your human employment with Indeed.
This episode not brought to you by whatever that
Definitely
site was.
not brought to you by that website.
Or robots. Though we love any robots who are listening to this show.
Yes,
Our robot readers are our favorite readers.
Anyway, Carl ends with a postscript. Nick and whomever else it may concern, you should really keep playing Rocket League. It manages to involve hilarious physics game antics and a near perfectly tuned multiplayer game. The average skill of the player base has skyrocketed since release, meaning better pace to the games and more exciting plays. Don't be a baby bird car, learn to fly.
I almost loaded Rocket League up this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I chose not to because I realized that it would make me an infuriated, horrible wreck of a human again, which is why I stopped playing the game in the first place, because I got just good enough to see how bad I was, and that's when I stopped.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Maybe I'll do it again. Probably.
Fair enough. Yeah. Right. So anyway, his actual email was about the sound effects in Imbroglio.
Right.
Yeah. This game has a really, really interesting soundscape that kind of functions as music without any actual continuous music. So I've talked before on the podcast about Imbroglio's. Again, Imbroglio's an iOS turn-based kind of one-screen roguelike game. That's really hard, but incredibly good, extremely well designed. I've talked about its super duper DIY aesthetic, not DIY in the sense that it looks like arts and crafts, but just clearly hand drawn by someone who's not an artist by trade. But that totally extends to the sound as well. It has this really charming sound palette where all of the moves, every move in the game has an associated sound effect that, as the reader says, just sounds like he recorded it on a guitar. And when you are playing the game quickly, they all kind of just overlap on each other in a way that just sounds like a not very expert guitar player kind of letting chords stomp on each other. And it totally works. It's not it doesn't. A lot of times I think when I talk about the aesthetic of this game, it sounds like I'm sort of backhanding it, but it actually totally all comes together, and he clearly intentionally designed these sounds to not just completely stomp on each other, because he knew they would all overlap. So they're very airy, they're very open airy chords. They're not big heavy chords. So it's not actually dissonant and terrible when they clash. It just creates this weird I don't know. It's a very specific sound that again, the only that I just have no touchstone for it. It's just a funny little charming soundscape that totally works with the very charming visual aesthetic. I'm still, by the way, playing this game more than any other game. It's just ridiculously good. It's called Imbroglio, and it's on iOS, and it's by Michael Brogg, I guess.
Imbroglio, more like.
It is more like that. So yeah. There's that. Very good game. Nora Riley says, "Hi, Thumbs.
Hi.
I was pretty excited to hear Jake give ResEdit a shout out on this week's episode, since I have pretty vivid childhood memories of using it to fuck around with resource forks and Mac programs. It felt like getting a glimpse of the primordial stuff that lurked beneath the placid surface of System 7 era user interface standards. A lot of what I did in ResEdit was just aimlessly break things, but I can think of one game where an organized modding community sprung up. Ambrosia Software's 1996 space adventure / role-playing / trading game, Escape Velocity.
Yeah.
Escape Velocity had built-in support for plugins. I guess the word mod hadn't made it to the weird insular Mac gaming community yet. And the main tool for authoring these was ResEdit, alongside community-made tools like EVEdit, which provided a ResEdit-like GUI for editing things like maps, NPCs, missions, or whatever. I'm sure there were Escape Velocity plugins all over the weird 1996 internet, but my first encounter with the community was on AOL's Escape Velocity keyword. It was, I'm pretty sure, the very first online community I'd ever participated in, so I'm probably not remembering any of this super accurately since I was like 8 years old at the time. But I remember there being a huge variety of plugins, from simple cheat mods that made every ship and weapon cost 1 credit or let you buy unobtainable ships, to collections of new NPCs and ships often named after the plugin maker or their friends, to things like Clavius and Beyond, which added entire new regions, governments, and missions to the base game. There were even a few total conversions. I remember 2 rival Star Wars plugins, one with nicer ship graphics, the other with a more polished map and missions. There was even one extremely strange Lord of the Rings plugin, which didn't change any of the base game's graphics, so you'd had ring wraiths flying around the Hobbiton system in Starfighters.
Good. Are you looking up Escape Velocity, Nick?
I am. Oh God, I feel like I played a lot of this game without knowing that it was called Escape Velocity in my brain right now.
That's
like
a classic 90s thing.
Oh,
Anyway, I'll wrap up this email.
yeah.
I only dabbled in making plugins because I was a small idiot child, but banging together something in ResEdit and EVEdit and seeing the NPCs and systems I'd made come to life in game was probably one of my most important early gaming memories. Anyway, I've probably rambled long enough. Thanks for the blast of 90s Mac trivia nostalgia. Nora, or Rinse Witch on the forums.
ResEdit is really interesting because in this now, like, obviously Windows and PC development dominated world, ResEdit feels like it's from the future if you go and look at it now. Mac files of that era were split in half. Basically, every file contained a data fork, which was the like binary or text data of the file, and a resource fork, which contained all of its like rich media and sort of component-based stuff. Not literally, not component-based, like being able to pull components in from another file, but you could open up like an escape velocity data file in ResEdit, and it was it used the Apple standard resource fork, which would mean that inside of ResEdit, you would just get a window of icons that showed the types of resources inside of that file. Then you could double click them and just view them. So like if you stored your game sprites in picked format in the resource fork, in ResEdit, you would just get the complete tile set as a browsable list that you could then just copy and paste out of any paint program.
That's crazy.
If your sound files were in the System 7 sound format, you could literally copy and paste sounds in. And if any of your text data was like text blobs or even binary blobs inside of there, you could just, through the mouse cursor, just open up those windows, edit the values, hit save, and close it in a full like GUI. So if you were a Mac modder who played with Ambrosia games or early Bungie games, you were totally spoiled for how this stuff worked. Because like you could
that's amazing.
You could change all the characters out in the early Marathon games by literally just opening up all of their animation files were in the same format as if you took a screenshot or something. It was very strange, but really, really cool. And I'm sure that's why that game in particular was able to be picked up. So, I mean, that game, Escape Velocity, was already a pretty like mechanically rich game for Mac, for a Mac only game at that time. But the fact that it also meant it could be edited with just a standard Apple dev tool that was free meant that community was huge, like probably a little bit ahead of its time for not John Carmack based video games, or Blizzard, I guess. Anyway, ResEdit. Good stuff.
That's pretty awesome.
Also, its icon was a jack-in-the-box popping out of a Macintosh, which as a
yeah.
kid was enticing as fuck. And then you could break everything because it was like the actual like resource editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I used ResEdit a couple of times without remembering that I did.
It didn't ship on the computer, but if you knew what it was, you could download it from Apple's
I remember
website.
that jack-in-the-box.
Or get it any place where people traded Mac floppy disks.
idlethumbs.casino.
I was so bad at Escape Velocity that I never played it, but yeah.
I feel like I played a clone of that game, like a Starship Troopers clone of that game or something, something stupid of that era.
Man, Ambrosia made
You played a Lord of the Rings clone.
you played one of two competing Star Wars ones. Ambrosia also made a 3D mech game called, I think, Avara, and its level format, like it was of the like Doom Wolf 3D era where everything was basically just vector data, but instead of inventing their own vector format, the Macintosh picked file format also allowed you to embed vector data because like ClarisWorks Draw needed you to be able to draw circles and stuff. So basically you could use ClarisWorks. I've talked about this before. You could use the ClarisWorks draw program to make vector-based levels, save them out as a picked resource, and then load them up in that game as 3D data, where like the stacking order like of your shapes became height information and stuff. I don't know. Mac, it's predictable but hilarious that the way that you mod Mac games is by like using some other heavily GUI based program to make an abstract shape that then gets read as a level instead of editing text data.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's really cool. All right. Well, speaking of like old 3D or fake 3D stuff, Nick Ives writes in and says, "Hey, I heard you talk about System Shock on your last podcast. I'd like to correct a couple of misconceptions. You incorrectly assumed it was fake 2.5D like Doom or Build Engine games. This is not the case. I thought this was true. I should have said something about it. Anyway.
I thought it was full 3D, and I feel like one of you guys.
No, you said fake 2D.
Did I?
Yeah. Okay. You incorrectly assumed it was fake 2D. System Shock and all the Ultima Underworld games were true 3D engines featuring real 3D level geometry such as bridges and tables. You could put things underneath other things. Ultima Underworld was even more impressive considering it came out in 92, almost a year and a half ahead of Doom. I remember my 486 DX4 struggling with Ultima even with the turbo button engaged. It wasn't until Intel released the first Pentium a year later that I was able to play those early Looking Glass games in VGA. The idea of playing something in SVGA 800 by 600 wasn't something I could even imagine at the time. I remember one of the things I did upon upgrading to a Pentium 2, remember those weird cartridges they came in? I do not. Was going back and playing those 3 Looking Glass games in high resolution. Also, Chris stated that he found System Shock difficult to play due to the UI covering the screen. While that was true for the Ultima Underworld games, in System Shock it was possible to completely disable the UI panels and play full screen. Oh, whoops! You could bind the UI panels to keys to make them bring them back up as required.
God, of course you could.
Many years later, someone modded in mouse look support, basically allowing it to be played like a modern first-person game. With mouse look, it plays somewhat like the sequel, with a key bringing up the inventory and disabling mouse look. The modern enhanced edition that's on sale features mouse look and improved graphics. I would highly recommend it. Even just blasting through it with everything set to easy and using a guide to help you when you get stuck is worth it for the atmosphere. I genuinely think the original System Shock is better than the sequel, and I already rate the second one as one of the best games of all time. Kind regards, Nick."
All right.
Truth, knowledge drop there.
Did you guys see that the remastered version, the one that they shipped, the demo they've shipped so far, they have smoothing and filtering turned off on all their textures. So even though the textures are very high res, when you get close to them, they pixelate naturally.
Yeah. I was really weirdly confused when I saw that, when I just walked up to a wall in the game and realized that, because it's so unusual in modern games.
So good.
It's really good.
They announced in the Kickstarter though, that they're potentially going to start filtering them, and a bunch of people got really upset. So I hope that they at least leave that as a toggle.
I'm sure it'll be an option.
That surprising retro feel, even in that high fidelity space, was really cool.
That's cool.
Oh man, here's a thing on CS:GO. So David Femia writes, "Hey Thumbs guys, I've watched a man lose $40,000 in one night gambling his CS:GO skins.
Oh no!
Jeez.
A few years later, he's still going strong. Wow, this has been going for years." Last I heard, he was involved in the CS Diamond scandal of 2016, where gambling sites were feeding him winning information. It started out with betting on pro matches, something I enjoyed to throw a couple bucks into from time to time. I watched a lot of pro CS and even have a 3-cent skin and I found that even having a 3-cent skin riding on a long shot bet gives me some sort of thrilling stake in the outcome of a match. Betting on pro matches all started about 3 years ago. Shortly thereafter came plenty of high-profile match-fixing scandals, culminating in the iBuyPower team throwing CEVO Pro Match series in 2014. iBuyPower had 97% odds to win the match, and the players involved netted tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh my God.
This led to lifetime bans, Valve-sponsored events of 7 people involved in the IBP organization, including 4 of 5 players. Match fixing led to a severe unrest in the gambling community, causing gambling to devolve into something more devious. The current trends in gambling are 1. Putting skins in a pot. The higher the money value you throw in, the better your chance of winning. 2. Cashing your skins in for tokens. 1 token %, and betting on a virtual roulette wheel. 50-50 on red or black and 15-1 on green. When you want to cash out, you buy a skin for tokens from for their market price. There are many nights on Steam where I'm messaged by desperate youths saying things like, "Hey, could you please front me a simple knife so I can get started again? I lost my whole inventory tonight." The whole thing has spun so far out of control, it's crazy.
Oh, no.
As a 30-year-old man who loses $5 every few months and feels sad that watches teens lose thousands of their parents' dollars on a night-to-night basis, I don't know how I feel about this gambling site. Stuff. Either way, once skins are on the skeevy gray market, they are largely out of Valve's control, and Valve ceases to profit. Essentially, this lawsuit on Valve is like suing the U.S. for printing dollars that are sometimes used in illegal gambling. Now on to the skins themselves. As Captain Invictus said, there are tons of very, very talented people making skins. I'm assuming because it's easier than it is in Dota. You can't change the actual model of the guns, you can only change the textures. So making gun skins requires no modeling experience and has a relatively low barrier to entry. The way guns are approved, you should probably give it a shot, Jake. The way guns are approved is similar to Steam Greenlight. You upload and people vote. When Valve releases a new series, they generally see the guns that are voted to the top of the bunch. Ultimately, Valve has the final say. Being a person with an audience, you stand a better chance of your guns standing out and being voted through. Just be sure to share your links if you do upload so people can vote. Check out the AWP Asimov, AK-47 Aquamarine Revenge, and Glock Water Elemental. I think you might dig their aesthetic. The base value of the weapons
That's totally that guy's skins.
The base value of weapons is largely on Valve's shoulders. If they determine a skin should be a rare crate drop, it will inherently be more valuable than a common drop. Beyond that, if it's a rare drop and people like your skin, it will be more valuable than other rare weapons. Technical prowess and creativity are your best friend. If you want your skin to have a high value, you should also try to texture popular weapons. The AWP, AK-47, M4A4, M4A1S, Glock, USP-S, Tech-9, and P250. Either way, creators get paid a percentage of key and crate sales, so if you get in, you're making money. You also get a percentage of marketplace sales on your gun, so if your skin becomes valuable, you're making more money. There's less competition designing skins for less desirable weapons, so you're more likely to get in, but they are less likely to become valuable. This is getting long, so I'll cut this email. Captain Invictus brought up float value, which is a whole separate email, so maybe I should send a follow-up someday.
Yes.
Get in on the action, Jake. I'd love to see you come up with. Keep up the good work, Dave. Attached is a dumb gun I whipped up out of a copyright infringing Ford advertisement. Enjoy. And then he has a gun skin based on the that weird Ford dealership Firewatch ad that came out. If you know what that is, and it's just that advertisement wrapped around a gun. It's
good. Yeah, really I was wondering if I could maybe contact the photographer who owns one of those Jay Allard photographs and license that from him, and then maybe I wouldn't have to go straight to Jay, and I could make an Allard skin.
Right.
Like maybe tint it gold. Call it Jay Gold. Seems that would do well.
I mean, at that point, why aren't you on just the Goldblum?
Yeah.
Goldblum, Gold Gun.
Goldblum's. I feel like Goldblum. We're oversaturated on Goldblum at this point. I feel like the world at large needs to just take a fucking break from Jeff Goldblum.
Well, we just paid a bunch of money to order new Goldblums, so I don't like that. That's your attitude.
Well, first, Goldblum's coming back very soon, but then after that, just get over it. Remember when you were cool? Pretend you were in the original Goldblum batch with these. They're identical to the first one, so you can.
True. We'll announce when those are back in the store. Those, by the way, if you don't know, which you probably don't, are our Jeff Goldblum-faced beer koozies, or just general foam drink coolers.
I think we should call it also on this podcast.
All right.
Unless you guys want to do another email, but I might have to run away.
Okay, we'll do one more email. It's very short.
Okay.
You can leave if you want.
Maybe I will.
Chris Stone says, I feel the need, this is to Nick, I feel the need to point out that the Golden State Warriors player Draymond Green was not suspended because LeBron James
I don't want to hear this shit. No,
because
the podcast is over, Chris. I can't read it.
James in the nethers a flagrant foul.
Oh, sure he did.
This being Draymond's fourth flagrant in the playoffs, he was suspended for a game by rule for Game 5. Okay. Love the show, Chris, Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, well, great email. Wonderful email.
Thanks for joining us on Idle Thumbs.
Yeah, Kevin Durant now. What do you say about that?
You can
read your mail.
You too can write us at questions@idlethumbs.net if you have any useful information for Nick Brecken or anyone else. Again, we're streaming Wizard Jam 2016 Part 2 on Saturday, July 9th at noon Pacific time at twitch.tv/idlethumbs. We stream plenty of other stuff. Nick, today, if you actually listen to this in time, we'll be streaming Dark Souls.
Well, now I'm going to be streaming NBA 2K16 with Kevin Durant on my team and beating every other team, or whoever that guy's team is.
Good. Anyway, that's all at twitch.tv/idlethumbs. Thanks for listening. We're on Twitter @idlethumbs, on Facebook at facebook.com/idlethumbs. And we'll talk to you guys next week or even sooner on Twitch. Bye.
idlethumbs.casino.
I almost just used the wizard URL.
Oh, does that work? Does that go anywhere?
It does.
What is it? idlethumbs.net/wizard?
Twitch.tv/
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Wizard?
It's so funny that
I
that's
almost used it,
real.
and then I was like, I wonder if anyone will notice that we shouldn't have this, and then take it away from us.
Yeah. Did you guys see how I noticed that? It's because someone on Twitch linked to twitch.tv/wizard space gaming, intending to link to just /wizard gaming. But because they put a space in there, of course, the URL just was twitch.tv/wizard. And I clicked on it.
And you were like,
I was
what?
like, well, because it did that crazy thing where if you search for Idle Thumbs on Twitter, it doesn't just search Idle Thumbs, it also searches what the URL resolves to, not just the URL itself.
Mm-hmm.
So searching for Idle Thumbs on Twitter crazily will return twitch.tv/wizard since that resolves to twitch.tv/idlethumbs. That's amazing that's how their search works, but it does.